Todd and Julie Chrisley were famously granted a pardon from President Donald Trump back in May. Since then, the Chrisley Knows Best star's lawyer has recently broken their silence over the story. The attorney also issued a warning considering such presidential pardons. Todd and Julie Chrisley became known to audiences through the USA Network series, Chrisley Knows Best. Back in 2022, the couple was convicted on a variety of charges, including bank fraud and tax evasion. Back in late May 2025, it was announced that the couple had been pardoned by President Donald Trump. Since then, the two have been released and many members of the family have spoken out about the story. According to the New York Post, Jay Sargent, a partner at Weiner Law Group LLP, and one of the attorneys who previously fought for the couple's freedom, has also spoken out about the story. As Sargent shared, he has been receiving a lot of phone calls since their prison release with his business booming thanks to the news. Sargent shared, "My business has been great. I'm looking at 8 major cases that came in from across the United States by the sheer fact that my name was mentioned many times with the Chrisleys." Sargent continued, "I cannot believe what my phone looked like after they got out." He added, "I think I've got to get a new cell phone. This is ridiculous." The lawyer also noted he's also been getting 300 to 500 emails a day. In particular, some callers were asking about getting presidential pardons for their own loved ones dealing with legal battles. However, Sargent warned that Todd and Julie Chrisley are the exceptions, not the rule. As Sargent noted, most of the stuff is people that are unknown. In particular, he shared that Trump isn't likely to pardon gang leaders, violent criminals, and drug dealers. Sargent also acknowledged, "It helped me. They market the hell out of me. You know, I represented them. And we submitted legal work for them, and I did all that. But then I really believe that I turned, believe it or not, more into a publicist as opposed to an attorney." However, he admitted he didn't have a problem with that. Since his release, Todd has also spoken out. As previously reported, he recently spoke at a press conference with his daughter Savannah. Todd has also shared similar sentiments when he talked about other inmates' reactions to his presidential pardon. However, he noted that he wants to remain committed to helping them. As he shared, "When I left that day, there was only 317 men at our camp, but they were lined up shouting when I was walking out, and they were saying, 'Don't forget us, don't forget us.' And my commitment is to them that I will never forget them." Hey, have you been following this story? Make sure to come back to TV shows Ace for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news. A move that has reignited public debate about celebrity justice and presidential power. The legal team representing Todd and Julie Chrisley has issued a striking public statement appealing to former President Donald Trump for presidential pardons for the embattled reality stars. The Chrisleys, once hailed as the golden couple of Southern charm and stars of the hit series Chrisley Knows Best, are currently serving lengthy federal prison sentences following convictions on charges of bank fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy. But now their lawyer, Miles Fontaine, is making waves with what he calls a moral and constitutional appeal to justice. This is bigger than television standing outside a gleaming marble courthouse in downtown Atlanta. Fontaine delivered the statement to a cluster of reporters and flashing cameras. Dressed in a charcoal suit with a lapel pin of the American flag and what appeared to be a tiny silver cross, Fontaine's delivery was impassioned, precise, and unapologetically dramatic. "This is not a case of celebrity entitlement," he began. "This is a case of a broken system, one that disproportionately punished Todd and Julie Chrisley for crimes that, in comparison to other white-collar convictions, were over-sentenced. We are officially requesting a pardon from the only American president in recent history who has demonstrated a willingness to challenge the bureaucratic elite, Donald J. Trump." The crowd of journalists, bloggers, and a few curious onlookers stirred. This was the first time the Chrisleys' legal camp had invoked the name of Trump publicly, and the timing, just as Trump's influence in the 2026 primaries is growing, seemed calculated. A selective prosecution. Fontaine's statement quickly dove into legal terrain, drawing attention to what he described as the government's excessive zeal. We are not denying that mistakes were made, but let's be very clear. This was a selective prosecution. Todd and Julie were targeted, plain and simple, because of their fame, their affluence, and their outspoken Christian values. The crime, the punishment. Fontaine cited a slew of similar cases: executives at financial institutions, tech billionaires, even politicians, who received lighter sentences or none at all for comparable offenses. Why do we continue to see celebrities sentenced as examples instead of individuals judged fairly? He continued. Todd and Julie Chrisley were not given a warning. They were given a guillotine. Why Donald Trump? When asked why the Chrisleys were specifically appealing to Trump, Fontaine leaned into the podium. President Trump has a proven track record of compassion in matters of overreach and injustice. Look at Alice Johnson. Look at Kodak Black. Look at the dozens of nonviolent offenders he granted clemency. He understands persecution by the media. He knows the power of redemption. He added that Todd Chrisley, a longtime Republican supporter, had previously voiced admiration for Trump's handling of criminal justice reform during his first term, specifically the passage of the First Step Act. Though the Chrisleys never appeared at Trump rallies or made their political affiliations central to their reality brand, Fontaine argued that the ideological alignment is there, inside the prison walls. Julie's health and Todd's isolation. Fontaine's statement included emotional updates on the Chrisleys' conditions in prison. Julie, currently serving her sentence in Kentucky, has reportedly suffered a series of undisclosed health scares, according to Fontaine, that have been improperly addressed. She is a mother, a grandmother, a woman of faith, and she is being failed, Fontaine said, his voice nearly breaking. Meanwhile, Todd, incarcerated in Florida, has allegedly been kept in what Fontaine calls quasi-solitary confinement, after several threats were made against him by other inmates. The lawyer didn't elaborate on those threats, but emphasized that the toll on Todd's mental and emotional well-being had become dangerously high. They are being spiritually tested, Fontaine said, but they are not broken. They are hopeful. The public reacts. Footage of Fontaine's press conference hit social media. The reactions were swift and divided. Supporters, many of whom have been active in the hashtag #FreeTheChrisleys online movement, flooded X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok with renewed calls for clemency. A fan account called @ChristleyTruth posted a clip of the statement with the caption, "They've paid enough. Trump, do the right thing." Conservative commentators such as Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly voiced tentative support for the pardon, citing judicial overreach and what they viewed as systemic inconsistency in sentencing. But not everyone agreed. Critics, including federal prosecutors involved in the Chrisley case, swiftly rebuffed Fontaine's claims. An anonymous DOJ source stated, "The idea that Todd and Julie Chrisley were selectively prosecuted is absurd. This was a thorough investigation with clear evidence of bank fraud, false statements, and years of tax evasion. Their fame only made the scrutiny more public, not more punitive." Social justice advocates also pushed back. Anthony Ramirez, director of the nonprofit Justice Without Fame, said, "It's frustrating to see yet another wealthy, connected family try to spin their criminal behavior into victimhood. If we want to talk about unjust sentences, let's talk about low-income minorities serving life for nonviolent offenses." The Chrisley family speaks while the couple themselves are prohibited from speaking to media directly. Their eldest daughter, Savannah Chrisley, appeared on a livestream just hours after Fontaine's statement. "We're not asking for special treatment," Savannah said, holding back tears. "We're asking for a second chance. If President Trump is watching, please look at the facts. My parents are good people. They've helped others. They made mistakes, but they don't deserve to die behind bars." Savannah added that her younger siblings, Grayson and Chloe, have struggled to adjust without their parents. She held up a letter Chloe had written to Pawpaw Todd, asking when he would be coming home. How do you answer that when you don't know yourself? Savannah said. As of publication, Donald Trump has not publicly commented on the Chrisley plea. However, sources close to the former president suggest he is aware of the statement and monitoring the situation. Trump likes redemption stories. He also likes loyalty. If the Chrisleys demonstrate both, anything's possible. Fontaine made it clear that the statement is only the beginning of a larger campaign. In the next few weeks, the Chrisley legal team will reportedly file formal clemency petitions to the Trump-aligned Political Action Committee, Justice Revival 2026, along with appeals to prominent Trump allies, including Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Senator J.D. Vance.